wool. We figure out, cotton's easier. Did anybody happen to have a banana in their lunch today? Did you bring a banana?
Hey!
All right.
I was gonna
Okay. I forgot to mention this to you yesterday. It would be a great idea if you had a banana, or if even they have them in there. I'd like you to separate the black seeds out of the banana without any of the banana muck being stuck to it. Okay, and if you try, you're not going to succeed very well, but it's still fun to try. Okay, again, when you get to cotton, it's great that we have now these machines that can mass produce, okay, by using the water wheel, by making a machine. Put it away, please. Yes, sir. Okay, that we can do this, and now we can mass produce thread a whole lot faster, but to produce that thread, I need the cotton. And so to get the cotton, I need to get the seeds out. Okay, and so yeah, so the cotton gin is great when we looked at that. But again, as this is going, and this is great that we can have the cotton outfits, that means who's working the cotton? Slave. Slave. Not really. Not really. Okay, and so that's going to progress then our slavery and the questions that are going to come up. Yes. Gosh, all right. Okay, so if we are mass producing now more textiles, if we have a lot more cotton, that means I need to what with it? That's right, Campbell. I need to get it somewhere. And so I put it in a boat, a canoe on the river, and we do what? That's right, we row. And yes, we come out buff. And it is awesome. However, if we can use the power of water to turn a machine, we've got to be able to harness the same power to get our stuff somewhere else, because I don't need big guns. I need my cotton factory back. Okay, so page 372. In 1800, public transportation was slow and uncomfy. Most roads were narrow dirt trails, okay, filled with potholes, tree stumps. When it rained, it's mud, okay? Even on a good journey, travel on the roads was painfully slow. It would take, say, 4 days just to get from Boston to New York. That's it, because you're going over dirt trails. A stagecoach, there's an image of it, is a large horse-drawn carriage for passengers, baggage, and mail. You've all seen the videos, right, of the stagecoach going. You see the people inside going with this. Then they create the spring, so it's not as, yes, sir.
I've seen those because I watched Old Western.
Oh, yeah, don't you guys watch Old Western?
No.
Oh, people, you need to watch cute Old Western.
Have you seen Ridiculous National Treasures? Remember how they were going in the carriage?
Number 2?
No. The first one. Remember when he was a flashback and the
It was.
and then he was on
Before they're up in the North Pole?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't remember that. That's right. He's up in the attic or something in the ground. Oh, but I don't remember. Darn.
It was
Okay.
somebody careful.
In 1811, the federal government started building a national road from Cumberland. What? Cumberland.
Oh, I got a song about this.
No. Oh, yes, Parker. Don't sing it. Just tell me what Cumberland is.
Angela Boone.
And it's Allen. What's in Cumberland?
It's a gap that the Indians used to use.
It's just it's like a walkway across the Appalachian Mountains. That's exactly all it is. So now we're going to make it a road. It's highly traveled. It's highly traveled on dirt on your feet. Okay? So now, but since it's highly traveled, let's make it into a road. So, the stone and gravel road link the east, with what will now become the west, from the Appalachians and Maryland all the way into Illinois. We're now going to have a road. And what do they put on it? We just read it. Read it again.
Stone and gravel.
Stone and gravel. Okay, which is just little rocks. And so this is a great improvement. Transportation improved even more with the what? Steam engine. A steam engine uses the energy from steam to power an engine. It can produce much greater power than horses. so it can pull a heavier load. All right, so when I was looking up images, I found a glass.
Bottle.
I found a glass steam engine so that you can see through it. It's exciting.
I love exciting stuff.
It actually was interesting, but I'm a history person,
I know.
so I like this stuff. Was it really? Here we go. Should I not do it? I know, but it will give you the point of what's going to happen. So it's a little engine, so you have the heat source, and there's water right here. Intense. It's going to happen. So the water heats up, it boils, it creates steam. The steam then moves the engine. That's how you get a steam engine. That is, none of you do that. Isn't that cool?
It's glass.
Right, so that you can see it.
Sealants used.
It's getting quicker.
Jeez.
So all you need is a consistent heat source
Which is cold and wet.
and water.
Is that why they have to fill up their water tanks on like college or training stuff?
It's friendly.
There you go. That's the steam engine.
So how does the water run out?
Anyway, kinda cool.
Water's running out. Let's see what happens.
So it's gonna stop.
Hey, spoiler alert! I know.
What industrial wreckage?
So, in the time of the early 1800s, when they have designed, now somebody had to mess with this a whole bunch of times, invent it, break it down, see which one works, okay, and they experimented on it. So you would have a heat source. That heat source heats up water. The water, when it boils, creates the steam. Somehow, yes.
So, would it work with different, maybe if they tried a different liquid besides water, would it work better?
Those will have a
Like
different,
mercury and,
well, they'll have a different heating, they'll have a different boiling point.
yeah, is there something that has a lower boiling point than water?
What are the lower boiling points?
With mercury? Because mercury's a little.
I boiled noodles.
Yeah, mercury will kill you.
You boiled them noodles.
Well, I had to figure out some way to put it in the thermometer.
Well, okay, then what are we gonna use this engine mainly on? No. Effort, no. Where are we mainly needing the source?
Tea and coffee.
On the boat. What do you have in mass amounts surrounding you on a boat? Water.
So would it run indefinitely as long as you have a good heat source or something to power the
And the
heat?
water.
Did they pump the salt water in, or did the salt water not work as well?
Most of your rivers are
Well, I thought, you know, on the ocean, if you pumped water into
I
it.
don't know.
They would use it on the ocean.
Well, what would they,
They did use
do you
that.
think they just use the sails still?
Yeah.
Maybe a steam engine.
Well, the Titanic used a steam engine.
Titanic has what?
Like when we first started making trains, what would happen if it overheated, like the steam?
It'll blow up.
I would assume, well, okay, so
Melt.
that's what you have to figure out. So you're gonna have a lot of experimentation, right? You're gonna have to make sure that the metal that you were using has a much, much higher boiling point, right?
Or
So I'm
melted.
sure they had I'm sure they first tried it out maybe with wood. And as all the, they just go, that's not a good idea. And then maybe it worked too much, you know what I mean? So I'm sure they had to experiment with all different metals to see which one's gonna work.
Like
No,
I
I was just kidding, I was just. It crashed to something and then it splits down and wins.
Split down a bit.
Say that again? But it was the unsinkable Titanic. It should not have happened.
It was
The man was not paying attention at the helm when he got the warning that there's an iceberg right here. You may want to move. Yes.
Well, I have two things.
Okay.
Some people think that the reason why the Titanic sunk was, I think, because the captain or one of the people said that not even God could sink the ship, and some people think it's a punishment to show that God
That's
was
not
in
what God's
control. And then there was what else? Oh,
Go
yeah.
back.
What do they mostly build their trains out of? I know, but what type of metal? What do they mostly build them out of?
Iron, gold. Wouldn't it be iron? The steel hasn't been invented yet. Steel is mass produced in America, 1880s, which is what you're going to study in the second study. No. Okay, so here's the steam engine. Well, we haven't gotten to the train.
Did they name the Titanic because it was made of titanium?
I have no idea. No, what do you want?
Really, that guy at the helm never died because the telegraph guy at the telegraph didn't just turn off the thing and then even give it to them. Someone broke.
But wasn't he supposed to be at the telegraph and not have it turned off?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you're right, he didn't get the message. Okay, here we go, steam power. Until the early 1800s, the easiest way to travel again is on the river. Most people and products traveled on grass or flat-bottomed boats. The crews of these boats use long poles to push themselves downstream with the current. And of course, it's a lot harder to go upstream against the current. An American painter and inventor named Robert Fulton learned of a steam engine that had been developed over in Scotland. Fulton thought the steam engine could be used to power a boat upstream. He worked on it for years, and in 1807 he creates the Fulton steamboat, the Claremont, and was ready to run out at the Hudson River from New York City to Albany. His boat is powered by 2 paddle wheels connected to a steam engine. Some people, though, called it Fulton's Folly, but the 150-mile trip only took 32 hours. Other boats who used it doing the pushing and pulling method took 8 to 11 days. So 32 hours is a day and a half versus 8 to 11 days. Okay, so let's on freeze, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so looking at a paddle, here we go. So here is your boat. So you have a paddle wheel on this side and then you have a paddle wheel on the other side. And it is powered by a steam engine. That's steam. Okay? Do you know how a paddle wheel works?
It paddles the water, just
It
like
is
the
exactly
mill,
like
except
the
for-
water wheel when we looked at the mills, okay? So, let's go back to our cute little, there's another one.
They still have some of those, so
They
you
do.
can go on Silver Hour City.
They do. Okay, so I'm gonna have you watch again the scene, and then I want you to try to picture this. Yeah, so this setup has the wheel at the back. Okay, so imagine 2 of these on the side of a boat. Being powered by coal. Did you just bounce up and down? Okay, so there again. So if you have 2 of these on either side of the boat, it's getting you upstream or downstream.
Just like wheels on a bike, except it's working by
Alright, you good?
water.
And it's got wedges on the side of it, which push on the water.
Oh, and the water's dripping down. The
I wanna
water's
go
dripping
scout
down.
steam
Yeah, there is some. Okay, so why? Because steam when it cools turns back into water. Alright, you good? Okay.
That's like time traveling. Water. What? It's like fire.
So, as this progresses on the water, so this is great. great. I can get the cotton from the south up to my factories, because most of my factories are actually in the north. Well, I don't have to spend as much time on farm. So you take it all up to the north. The north is where the factories are going to be. And you send it up the rivers. This makes sense. Now, once the factories have the cotton and the textiles, or maybe other produce, okay, I don't just want to send it on a river boat. I'm going to take the same idea and I'm going to use it on the choo-choo train. Okay? So if you would please, no, just ignore what I just said.
Ignore that you're down.
I'm sorry, you know that yours now. We're going to look at both here. In October of 25, the governor of New York named Clinton stood on the deck of a boat bobbing up and down in the waves of the harbor.
You tend to build.
He poured a bucket of water from Lake Erie into the Hudson River. The ceremony called the Wedding of the Waters marked the opening of a canal or a human-built waterway. Okay, so now you understand.
We're marrying waters.
Okay, the Erie Canal connected the port of New York with the Great Lakes. Okay, so as Mackenzie continues to read that section,
Governor DeWitt Clinton's critics called it Clinton's Ditch. They thought his idea of a 350-mile man-made waterway was impossible.
keep going, girlfriend.
It also seemed impossible to raise the $7 million cost of the canal. The governor asked European investors to buy shares. An investor is a person who puts money into a project and ends up wrong. By July 4th, 1817, Clinton had raised the money and work began on his grand scheme. From the very beginning, the Erie Canal was a big job. It was not easy to find enough people to do the digging. The first workers were local farmers, but there weren't enough farmers and they had to take care of the crops. They could work only part of the year. This problem was solved by hiring immigrants from Europe. Another problem quickly became obvious. Land along Lake Erie was 565 feet higher than land on the Hudson River. That meant the canal had to drop more than 500 feet from west to east. The solution was a series of locks. A lock on the canal is like an elevator. It uses water to lift or lower boats to the next level on the canal.
Okay, hold on one second. Okay. This is the state of New York. Okay, can you picture New York?
Yep.
Okay. On the eastern side of New York, down here, you have New York City, you have Long Island, and you have the Atlantic Ocean. But on the eastern end of New York, where the capital is, like Albany, you have Canada, and you have the Great Lakes. All right, so let's think. I'm doing trade. Okay, I'm using boats. I can do so much trade up on these 5 Great Lakes. The Mississippi even comes up to it. I have Canada up here. These are great transportation areas. What's even greater is somehow getting all of the stuff that's being moved here over here to the Atlantic Ocean. How do I get it here? I'm going to use rivers. That's what I'm going to use. So I can, if I had a map of all the different rivers, but you have to imagine we have big boats. Some of the rivers are not, they're not that big. So what they do, and this is not the best picture of it, but they literally build a canal from Lake Erie all the way over to this river that drains down into the Atlantic Ocean. Okay? So you can't read it, but this is the canal, and these are going to have to be built. So this is a river, and it's a canal then that we make to go into it, that then is going to lead to the Hudson River.
What are the red parts?
The bridges, or locks, gaps, so that they have to fill them in. That's a huge undertaking. That's not just like a little thing that I'm going to go across a cute little bridge. This is the entire state of New York. I have to make a man-made waterway. A man-made waterway that's wide enough to get boats through that carry, say, cotton or anything else, down. That's huge in the 1800s. Right now, it's like no big deal. You take a big earth mover and a few caterpillars, you dig some stuff out, you're good to go. This is the early 1800s. We have shovels.
Yay!
Men and mules. We have mules, men, and shovels.
Early steam engines.
Okay, that's what we have. And we're going to take on this undertaking of creating this canal that's going to head all the way to the Hudson River. These people were studs.
I could have waited a couple years.
Okay,
A little bit
so
on
Then they wouldn't be afraid.
this is the Erie
this, but
Canal.
it's still way long.
It is a man-made waterway, which we're like, ooh, that's exciting. No, it is. Because they were moving stuff off the Great Lakes and getting it down to the Atlantic coast. That's cool. This is all man-made. Some men sat there and they dug all this out. That's cool.
So
I can show you a video of you going on the locks and the dams about it too. If you really, really want.
Yes, we should.
Yes.
Oh, it takes forever to do.
I want to.
No, you don't. And there you go. That's the Erie Canal, and there's a boat. Again, this is a man-made, dug, cute little river.
We watch a video.
You are so not nice.
Can we watch a video?
No.
Why
But there is a song.
Yes, I have.
No.
There's a song about a mule.
Yeah, her name is Sal. 15 miles down the Erie
15 miles
Canal.
down the Erie Canal. Here you go.
Oh my gosh.
15 miles down the Erie Canal.
Changed from mule power to engine power. It's a song. This is I have one of
It's really funny.
Playing something.
I hope something happens. All coming back.
15 miles down the Erie Canal, we fought some marches in our day, filled with lumber, coal, and hay, and we know every inch of the way we go, from Albany to Buffalo.
Two cities.
Low Bridge, everybody down. Low Bridge, for we're coming to a town, and you always know your neighbor, you always know your pal, if you've ever navigated on the Erie Canal.
Wow.
Again.
Oh, happy days. Okay.
Happy Day!
So, hey, Bruce Springsteen sings it.
That's the version I have on my tab.
Happy Days? I forgot. This sounds familiar.
It's a show from the late 70s, early 80s.
Oh!
The Bonds and Cunningham and Richie and Foxy. Yeah, there it is.
15 miles from there.
That's good. All right. Oh, you were so. If I sing it, you would all ask me to stop.
Let's hear it. What's this?
Right, so here we go. From the very beginning, the Erie Canal was a huge job. It was not easy to find people. I think you already read this.
Yeah,
To do
canal
the digging, the first workers were farmers, where there weren't enough farmers, and they still had to go take care of their crops. The problem was they hired immigrants from Europe. Another problem quickly became obvious. The land along the Erie was 565 feet higher. 560, but it's almost 2 football fields higher than the Hudson River. So that means you have to drop a boat 500 feet. How do you drop a boat? All right, so you have to do the locks and dams. So you go into one section, it will drop you down. You go into the next, it lowers the water, and you have to move through that way. The canal fever, in spite of these problems, the Erie Canal opened in 1825 with a huge celebration. Governor Clinton rode the first boat from the Lake Erie to New York Harbor. The Erie Canal was an instant success. Farmers from Ohio, Illinois, and Indiana were able now to ship their crops cheaply and quickly to the east. Factories in the east then were able to ship what they have now to the Midwest. Trade boomed, and New York City becomes the largest city in the country. Okay? And a center for shipping and trade. I'm not going to the steam engine jet. What you're gonna do? Oh, sweet with illustrations and details. Okay, you're going to write the question and you're going to answer with diagrams and details.
What do you mean by diagram?
Well, when it asks you about the Erie Canal, you're more than welcome to draw a Great Lake and then the state of New York, however New York looks. No. You would also have to put all the details and tell me about what happens in New York. You're going to have to tell me about the trade. You're going to use details and diagrams to answer the reading check question. Please, on page 373.
Can we write?
The first thing it tells you about is what?
Do we have to draw it off?
What was the first thing it talked about, Skyly? Roads, that's right. The first thing you're going to mention are the roads. What did they do to roads? What were they like before, Miss Campbell? I know, but what were roads like before, Miss Campbell? They were dirt, they're trails. So what happens to a road after this, Miss Kayla? They're with gravel and stone, and so you could write those words out in the details, and then you could draw a simple little diagram. And illustrate transportation of goods. What else should we put it on with our transportation? Yes, Miss Woodland. That's right. Let's use that same idea on land. Okay, so turn please to page 374. Canal fever gripped the United States. Hundreds of different canals were being built and used by the 1830s. There were plans for even more, but these water routes are going to be replaced. Campbell, why do you have to stand there? Oh, steel blocks. Campbell, you're a very nice friend. No, you're right. Okay, yeah, she's not a nice friend to you, but she was a nice friend to Megan. We'll get it back. I know. You're a nice boy for letting Mrs. Woodson pass somebody steal your pencil. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, please look, page 374. Like, it's not going anywhere. It's written in a black The first quote-unquote railroad were coaches that instead of the wheels, they took a coach, a stagecoach, and they put like iron skis on the bottom of it. And then had the horse still pull it. So can you imagine a stagecoach, instead of the wheels, you have steel skis. You have metal skis. Yes. I know I was wrong. Iron rails. And pulled by horses. But an English inventor, these English really are coming up with some good stuff, replaced the horse with a rail car powered by a steam engine. It's the same exact engine that Mr. Fulton used on his boat. And in 1830, Peter Cooper, a New York businessman, brought this quote-unquote iron horse. Why is it called an iron horse? Yes?
Because it does a horse's job, but it's stronger.
It does what a horse has been doing, yes.
But it's made of iron.
It's made of iron. Okay, so that's right, you are illustrating this. I would like you to take a draw with the best of your ability the 3 stages of land transportation. So we are going to do horse, which is your locomotive. Okay, so, those of you who can draw, don't laugh.
I won't be laughing.
It did have windows, didn't it? A mobile phone.
Look like
My horse looks great.
Mine looks like a person on its hand.
Those are awesome.
Wow, I love that part.
I like it a
I
lot.
like his smile too. Damn, this is special.
Okay, so the original stage course, it's more strong, right? We got that. Okay, so then we go to an iron rail stagecoach.
So pretty much the same thing on just shiny.
I'm not drawing your horse. 'Cause I don't have time.
Did it have one ski or
I'm gonna assume it has two.
Let me see. Dad.
did it run on a railroad type thing? It was just a sleigh?
Okay, so then we go to the iron rails. Then, I wonder if it has an image of the tree.
There's an iron horse there in the picture.
This is the best.
I was just seeing if I could find an actual image of one of the very first locomotives or not. I mean, I can't.
Search iron horse, literally the iron.
For what? I'm writing the book.
This is, it's shaped a little differently than what we're thinking because the man stands in the back instead of the man having a compartment on.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen some of those.
So the one there is good because that's the engine and then the box behind it's where the cool's at. Is that a car? Okay. So this is the engine. And then he is here and then what would be here would be a train car full of the coal.
Are we supposed to draw that?
Well, somehow we have to draw an iron horse. So there's an image in your book.
Let's just put a little part with
Yeah,
wheels.
that's actually well
Like
drawn.
with like pipes and
Yeah, if you draw, I don't care if you draw a normal train.
and I'm gonna draw it.
Drawing that.
If you put the iron horse right there. Oh, and that one page.
It's wrong. Iron.
Oh,
Green.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you can't even go train.
Wow. Marjorie, that's awful. Mean and uncalled.
I wasn't thinking it was mean. I was okay with it.
That was still very mean.
And uncalled.
No, not you.
Okay.
Thank
you. All right, so we're good.
This is a giant horse.
So what we know is the Industrial Revolution changed technology in the U.S. It brought new and great wealth to some entrepreneurs, and an entrepreneur is a person who organizes and runs a new business. The Industrial Revolution also brought changes to ordinary people's lives and to different regions of the nation. People paid less for some products, but the workers in new factories worked long hours in very difficult situations. The transportation between the regions is going to improve. The technology that created differences between the north and the south. And on Monday, when we come back in, we're going to map out where the railroads are. And you'll see they're all real. Hold on, please. Stop doing anything that would cause me to get cranked. If you have the ability to have faster transportation between the east and the west, like we have the Mississippi River, we're really not going to get the railroad to go past that for a little while. What does that mean about people and their ability to move themselves to a new location? Better. That it's going to make them leave. I can leave the east, right? I can leave the Atlantic coastline again. I don't just have to hike through the Cumberland Gap. There's a road there. I don't just have to stay over there. I can move to Ohio. I can move to Kentucky and the far, far sides of it, and I can get my stuff transported back to the east real quick. If that happens, that means that those territories are what? Going to become states. If those territories become states, what happens then? Yes.
They have to decide whether they're
Free or slave. Why? Because it will upset, it's going to upset the power, the balance of power in the Congress when we go to pass laws. It's going to create mass tension, which is going to lead us to a civil war. Civil war. Civil war. All right. Thank you. You may pack up.